Yo, do us a favor and yourself a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Make sure to tap that notification bell as well so you can stay updated. Now let's get to the video.
You know, I almost had to change my name for radio.
What?
Yeah, you know, and which is common. You know, not just for.
It's funny you said Common because Common had to change his name for what?
still with the double entendres, man. When I finally got the job at WVON, Melody Span Cooper, shout out to Melody Span Cooper, who gave me immense opportunities. Called me into the office, was like, "Yo, we thinking that your name is kind of hard to pronounce, and I want to look at your future. You might be, you're headed toward CNN. You're headed toward something big. You might want to." Change your name. Do something that's more easier to pronounce. What do you think of Dom? I'm like, I don't like Dom because my name ain't even Dometi. It's Dometi. You know, I'm like, and when I hear Pongo, my name means something. It carries a story. Dometi means the backbone or pillar of the family. Pongo, you know, I hustle for my last name, not my first. It means workhorse, literally, right? So if I come out with my company is Pongo Media. If I change my name, I would have to carry a slave master's name. And make that, it's different when it's your mama's name and your family name passed down for generations and it's become something that you take on as pride. But when it's something you pick out of a book and say, this is gonna be my name, that's backwards.
This is iLLANOiZE Radio with Biko, iLLANOiZE Jones, and Pretty Riot going down right now.
You're tuned in to iLLANOiZE Radio, Chicago's most valuable radio show, and as always, I'm your host, Biko, alongside Pretty Riot, iLLANOiZE Jones, and you already know we bring you all the illest guests from around the city and globe. And today, we got the homie Dometi Pongo in the building!
Oh, man.
Bow, bow.
The intro got me too hyped. Can I just say, man, I just came straight from Midway, straight here. Thank God y'all on Cicero. But I miss you, brother, so much, man. And just seeing the platform from afar, I feel like I'm at the Breakfast Club. I'm like, this the infamous backdrop? Is this the seat that so many of my favorite people from the crib have sat in? Man, this is dope, bro.
Man, it's good to have you here, bro.
Yes, sir.
Man,
talking about, hold on, you talking about watching from afar. Watching you from afar,
hey,
my nigga. Yo.
Hey, well, y'all know how I feel there, man.
Yo, my dude. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Man.
I'll be happy as hell to see you do your motherfucking. Listen.
What Chance say? Gas me up.
Listen.
Chance voice.
Listen. Niggas wasn't watching MTV, folks.
Yeah, talk about it, man.
Niggas started watching MTV, folks.
Yeah.
When you got on MTV, niggas started watching MTV. Niggas wasn't watching MTV.
Oh, man.
We started back watching MTV because
I didn't know what MTV was, bruh.
See, I thought I was finna come in cocky. Y'all done humbled me. Now I'm just quiet. Like, I never looked at it and thought about it like that.
Like, niggas wasn't watching MTV. Outside, Real World got watered down.
Right.
And then shit, Direct Effect got canceled. Shit.
Bruh.
TRL was over with.
Man, that's the goal, man. Try to bring back that classic MTV feel. We had some, of course, through the years, I can't forget the phenomenal MTV News correspondents that have been doing their thing. But as far as for black folks, for the culture, for the crib, the content that we believe in,
right?
And then I hope I'm creating things that inspire y'all, like the way the work I'm doing inspires me and keeps me going. So man, look, you saying that means a lot to me.
Listen, you got niggas in the crib trying to help you solve murders and shit.
Right.
Like, hold on, we ran it back. So that's all right. Let me just write the clues down because I'm gonna text them this shit because this shit real.
And they really do.
But and you implicate and you put the city in a lot of things too, man. You represent the city so fucking well, bro, and I just want to tell you how proud of you I am because I felt like I was like damn, I see bro go, and now he that nigga. That shit
speak on it, man. So the listeners can know, like, cause y'all share special bond.
WindyCityUnderground.com. Those were the early days, man. Even before I was program director there, you had already had a show.
Yeah.
On WindyCityUnderground.com.
It was the same day y'all had the Third Thought. You and DJ Pat.
Me and DJ Pat. Yup. We had the same. He came in right after me.
Yep.
And that's back when you had to dreads down the hill. You know, now we done switch looks. You know what I'm saying?
You used to be in there casual out, Kanye West dressed up.
Right. Yup.
You know, he used to come in with the polos on fresh. The man had the waves on lock, you hear me? And then you had the poetry slam. You was doing the poetry slam joints. And yo, for y'all, and hold on, this nigga could rap too. You hear me? this nigga got bars. You hear me?
On the lowest of keys.
Bars. You heard me? So I didn't watch them go, and then he went to WVON.
Yeah.
WGN.
What?
Yeah.
Turned up.
Man. Yeah. And while I was news director at WVON, was programming Windy City Underground, and then we were acting a fool then. Illinois Jones could do whatever he wanted on his show.
Hey, listen. I probably got like 100 calls in, and I'd be like, Dometi be like, man, Jones, look, bro, you playing the song straight off the YouTube, and you can't do that. I'd be like, bro, this new bankroll fresh, nigga crazy right now. I gotta play it.
That's a fact, man. And it's interesting too, just bringing up like how I used to present back then, because as we come up, especially as journalists, as media makers, when you aren't making consistently urban content,
right,
you're so image conscious,
right,
because anything urban can write you out of certain rooms. So back in that time, it was tricky because I'm at Windy City Underground, where this is where I feel comfortable. This is my culture. But in the morning, I'm at WVON, where the elderly folks or the older generation and those people we look up to might look at me like I'm not a serious journalist if I don't present or speak a certain way. So I always felt like I had this duality. So now being at MTV News, I feel like I finally have had that. I can fully be myself and show that, a thoughtful, intellectual content creator can look just as we all naturally look.
But on some real shit, bro, you always had that. That's why when it was time to become the program director and they was asking people who want to be, I'm like, shit, I can't really talk to these people. Yeah. I say shit, but Dometi, he could talk for me anytime.
I done seen you tweet several times like how people can can email in corporate ways. You could take it from urban. This is how you be more corporate.
The corporate translation. Per my last email.
Exactly. I wanted to touch on because you spoke on how you would go from Windy City Underground to WVON. How was it transitioning from doing Windy City, being a program director there, then doing news? How was it transitioning between those stations? Because they're two different type of outlets.
Two totally different sounds. It actually, God has such a profound way of putting us where we need to be at the right time and training us up in that way, because it kind of, first it let me know something about my personality. If I was doing 100%, WindyCityUnderground.com, take money out of it. They didn't pay a lot. But creatively, I wouldn't have felt fulfilled, because there are other things I want to do, other things I want to talk about. It was a dope breeding ground for young personalities and for veterans, who already knew what they were doing. Well, I can learn from you simultaneously. And then with VON, that fed my intellectual bug. I got to report on Laquan McDonald. That's why I did some of my award-winning work over at WVON. But it was heavy. So when I leave that shift, I get to go and mentor, people coming up and play music that I like, have conversations about pop culture that is just laid back to kind of be a palate cleanser for all of the difficult stories that we would tell.
That sounds difficult in general, just like hearing you share that. And then it also got me thinking more about your background, like family. I know somewhere family plays a role within building the character you have now.
Oh man, that's everything. I wouldn't even be in radio if it wasn't for my mother. I remember, so I worked before WVON. We talked about this on another platform that Biko interviewed me for. Before WVON, I was working in corporate America briefly, straight out of college at Target as a business analyst. Went home, lived with my parents. I quit just because the job wasn't fulfilling to me. I really didn't have a backup plan. Was living with my parents, which is hard when you're 23, 22. You think you know it all already. You back in your people's crib after you've lived
out on your own
for a year or two. And I was interning at WVON. The day I started, the previous news anchor put in his 2-week notice. My mother said, why don't you apply for his job? I was like, that's not how it works to be a news anchor. You can't just, I've never done news before. I can't just walk in and say, let me get this job.
I said, why you can't?
That's exactly what she said, verbatim. Why can't you? You can't.
With the accent.
Why can't you? She was like, I didn't raise you to say what you can't do. Right. I was like, I felt like, I'm like, yeah, why can't I? So I put together an air check, and I realized, man, a lot of stuff that comes from MCing works as a broadcast. Enunciating, breath control, knowing how to tell a story in a concise way, getting it within 16 bars, or for 1 minute for the newscast.
That's that rapper. That's the rapper. That's the rapper. Listen, he a dog. You hear me?
It hit spots where you got the beat beneath you, and you know the little music beds,
you know it.
Trying to
and mix it, trying to fade it in. I'm fading in my news thing. I'm like, traffic inbound over there, right? I'm fading it up. I'm acting like I'm rapping or something.
Like it was DJing and rapping at the same time.
Exactly. So that's, that was why it was my family who pushed me toward doing what because they knew I was damn near depressed when I was living in Minneapolis. Like, I mean, I went like 2 months without calling home at one point in time, and my sisters put something on Facebook and was like, has anybody heard from my brother? I didn't even realize 2 months had passed without me speaking to anybody.
Right.
I just didn't answer the phone. I was engrossed in the work, but I just felt like a shell of myself because putting on this suit, I'm doing this boring work, ordering supplies, looking at numbers and spreadsheets all day. I could do it, but it wasn't me. It wasn't my creative juices. So it was my family that reminded me, that woke me up, shook me up, and was like, nah, you all right? I'm like, I'm finna quit. I need to come home. Come back to the crib.
And what we gonna do, on that note, we gonna take a quick, very brief music break, because this is an exclusive Chicago.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I need you to do one sminy. Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I just need you to do one small favor for me. Head on over to your app store, search iLLANOiZE. Hit the first thing that pops up, because we the one and only, and download the iLLANOiZE app.
Before the break, we were talking about you living in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. You were speaking on how, like, when you were out there, you didn't realize that you didn't communicate with anyone for like 2 months.
Yeah.
What was happening around that time where, like, you kind of like lost communication with the family?
So we recently did at MTV, we did a mental health forum at the White House, and when I heard these young people talk about mental health, it was a conversation with Selena Gomez, the First Lady, and a whole bunch of mental health administrators within the White House, within Biden's administration. And when I heard these kids talk about what they have been through in terms of depression, somebody talked about dealing with selective mutism, which is the same thing Maya Angelou went through, where she literally didn't speak, was unable to speak after a traumatic event for a long period of time. And so I started, when I was hearing this, I was like, man, what's so powerful about this next generation is they have language to describe what it is that they're going through in a way that we didn't. And we're not even that much older than them, but I didn't say, I'm depressed. Right. I didn't know that as to be a word. But in hindsight, I can say after reporting on these things, after True Life Crime and all that, I was depressed. And so what I really noticed was I felt like I had to insulate myself. And I didn't know what I was doing with my life. But I had so many people telling me I was lucky to have a job coming out of the recession, a full-time gig, like
the non-black stuff that we hear, like you working, you be happy that you're working.
You worked hard for this.
Yeah.
So talking about my problems felt ungrateful or futile. And I don't got nothing to talk about besides these problems. So all I really was doing was writing. That's when I was writing heavy. That was really my therapeutic. Songs that I've never released, just things that I recorded back in 2012. And what snapped me out of it was I saw the text messages, I saw the missed calls. I just didn't realize 2 months had gone by without me speaking. And when I saw the Facebook status, I was like, okay, this is dramatic. And then I called. I was like, I'm being dramatic, bro. It's not that serious. Because I was like functionally depressed. I was going to work. I had on the face, and then acting is exhausting. Like code switching.
Yeah.
And this is Minnesota. It's not a lot of black people. So to make a long story short, when they called me, it was like, no, you tapped out for a long time. Are you good? And I was like, oh, it's been, damn. I ain't talked to y'all since July. So it was
October.
And then, Minnesota gets dark, seasonal depression. You go to work at 6 a.m. and you're coming back at 7 p.m. You didn't see daylight.
Man.
You never saw daylight.
It's like being in jail.
You feel me? Except for maybe that 30 minutes when you took your lunch break. But like us overachievers got to be twice as good. Mm-hmm. I'm working through lunch, sandwich in hand, keyboard in the other. So, when I realized that I was like, okay, this is affecting me more than I thought. And I really need to follow my passion because I already knew I wanted to work in the arts. I thought I wanted to be an MC, but I knew I wanted to work in the arts. And most of the time we know what we want to do. life and adulthood just strips us of that, you know.
Like, what do you tell like kids who like normally coming from our environment? They tell us, go to school, go to college, get an education, then you'll find a job. Do you like you followed your dream? Like when you see kids and when you speaking to them, like what part of them do you speak to?
That's a good question because it's a balancing act, right? Like every dream, there's a Charlemagne the God in his book Black Privilege. He's got one chapter. You know the chapter, Biko?
You got to speak on it first.
He said, F your dreams. Something like that, right? Because sometimes you might have a wrong dream.
Right.
So it's hard to go into a class of youth and all of them want to be rappers. And you want to tell them to follow their dreams and be who you know in your heart that you could be. But what if your heart is tainted because all you know is rappers? So that's what you think you want to do.
Right.
You know, I didn't have a context for journalism. I wouldn't have known that this was what I could. So what I say is, I say feed that creative seed, water it, plant it, give it light, all of that. While at the same time, plant other seeds. You know, still go to school. Still, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have these options if I didn't go to school.
Right.
I almost didn't want to go to Illinois Media Center where we met.
Right.
If I didn't go there, I wouldn't be what I'm doing now. You know, so I always tell them, leverage your resources, and education is one of the biggest resources you can have. But don't let your dream die. You can still, after school, go to the studio, or you can still draw. I don't care if somebody says artists don't make no money. You don't know about architecture yet. You don't know somebody has to paint the street signs. You don't know that somebody got to do that mural in these cities that we see all the time. So, you know, I try to open their minds and expose them to the obscure jobs, you know, that they might not have heard of. But just tell the shorties to feed and water that creative seed that you have, while at the same time, you know, being practical and doing what you need to do to get that degree.
Now, you saying feed and water, you know, that plant. Shout out to Heavy Grounds too. For some reason, he just pops in my head.
Oh yeah, shout out to Heavy Grounds.
Farmers in the building. But you also spoke on how after season 1, if I'm not mistaken, of True Life Crime, you fell into a depression state. So how did you water yourself and grow yourself from that state?
Oh man, Dr. Phil Biko, man. That is a phenomenal question. So this grind and hustle culture, I feel like had kind of permeated my psyche, where I felt like if my hobby wasn't making money, then it wasn't valuable. So I love to play chess. You know, I'm a chess player. You know, anybody who won't smoke, I'm out here. But
chessboard right in the lobby.
Yeah, I saw it in the lobby. I'm not even that great. I just like doing it. But I stopped doing the things that made me happy because I was so engrossed in the work. So when I would get done with True Life Crime, I developed new practices where I would do some chess puzzles for a little bit, watch something dumb like South Park or Love and Hip Hop. I would just watch, not even taking in the storyline, just something asinine that was just entertaining.
Right.
And that helped me to come back and come down from what I saw with True Life Crime. Because when I came home and brought that work home with me and went to sleep, my dreams would be engrossed in what I'd seen, the crime scene photos or the conversations I had. But I didn't confront those emotions. So I repeated what I had going on in Minnesota while I was functionally not quite depressed, but I don't even know the word for it. It's like a
blah mode, like just blah.
Just blah. Going through the motions, you know, and while I'm shooting True Life Crime, I have to be there. But sometimes simultaneously while I'm shooting that, I might have a Zoom interview with a Doja Cat or somebody like that. So I gotta find a way to bring my mind back to that place. What did I do? It's the music, it's the writing. Just because I'm not dropping tapes don't mean I can't still write. I haven't written in a long time, but
you ready for it, nigga, if you want some smoke.
If it gotta happen. Nah, but yeah, so you know, chess and getting back to those hobbies, man. Bring hobbies back, man. Bring back those things that you love to do that you don't get anything from it except happiness, man. That's why we're doing the Artist Lounge again.
That's dope.
And you know what? before we go into this brief break, tell people about the Artist Lounge because it's today.
It's today. If you're listening live, you can still go to the Artist Lounge. Online ticket sales are closed, but you can get the tickets at the door, 25. It's at 5300 West Chicago Avenue, out West Illinois, at the Nest. The Artist Lounge is me and my sister, Authentic Poetry, and open mic where me and her shoot the breeze on the microphone, give positive energy, and let people who are poets, artists of all kinds showcase their talent.
Gee, it's so dope that I remember I used to do that at the what's the Frontier Bookstore?
Yup, Frontline Bookstore in Hyde Park.
You go through the bag, it's all groovy back there. Like if weed was legal then, it would have been lit now.
Oh, that's
because they had the cookie spot right there too.
Yup, right next door. Right there. Y'all know Frontline Bookstore. You're from the crib right there in Hyde Park. You got flags from every country. Yup, and you had the spirit of the books in there, everything.
That's when I got in tune with Sam Trump. First heard Sam Trump was in there.
Wow. He's now Sam Thousand.
That's his new name?
That's his new name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sam Trump is Sam Thousand.
Sam Thousand.
I didn't even know what a ukulele was until that nigga came and got up there and he played that shit. All the girls and I was like, ooh, I was like, oh, I gotta get into it. If the ladies fucking with it, I gotta fuck with it.
Got to.
But nah, that's dope, man, that y'all came back to do that. How important is it for you to come back and still do stuff for the city, like do stuff in the city?
It's for my sanity. I wish I could even say it was for the city. It's for my personal sanity. It's for me and Net, like, you know, her real name is, you know, Janette. I call her Net, but she goes by Authentic. But for me and Net, that was therapeutic. We started doing the Artist Lounge just so we could have somewhere to kick it because our schedules were too busy. We couldn't go out too late because we usually had to work in the morning. I was working like 6 days a week, right. 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs. So we just did the Artist Lounge just to feed ourselves. And she's a professional writer. She's getting working on a PhD right now.
Oh, damn.
She's going crazy. So that was where she worked out her material and all of that. And that was just for me to just emote, talk about things that happened in the news. I felt like I couldn't tweet my sincere thoughts about certain things because my views are radical, and I'm an unbiased journalist. So I'm like,
and you know you on the contract, and you can't say certain shit on social media.
Come on to the Artist Lounge and hear how I feel. We locking your phones up, man. So that's what it's for, man. It's for that, but it's also a chance to, you know, when you come in town, you don't get a chance to, you know, living in New York for the past 4 years. I don't get to mingle with my people like I want. So come politic with me, man.
It's happening tonight, Chicago. It's happening tonight at 7.
At 7 o'clock.
You may see me pop out. Get that address.
Yeah, 5300 West Chicago Avenue tonight at 7, out West Illinois. Me and Authentic. It's the Artist Lounge. You can check us out with the hashtag The Artist Lounge Shy and The Artist Lounge on Instagram, man.
Yo, what's going on? It's Illinois Jones. All right, for you niggas who making that trash, I need y'all to just scroll, just go right past. Alright, for the niggas that's making that shit though, I need y'all to do me a favor and submit that music to illinois.co. You feel me? All you gotta do is go to the contact tab, boom, then hit that submit joint. It's that easy. Send that shit ASAP. We need that. We up now. Peace. Yo, what's going on? It's the one and only Illinois Jones, and right now you're tuned in to the dopest thing to hit the street since crack cocaine. Got my boy, my brother, Dometi Pongo in the building, still rolling with us, man. Listen, I can say that name with like I've been knowing it all my life. You hear me?
You know, I almost had to change my name for radio.
What?
Yeah, you know, and which is common, you know, not just for.
It's funny you said Common because Common had to change his name for what?
still with the double entendres, man. Yeah, nah, you know, Larry King ain't Larry King. He was Larry Ziegler or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be Larry Ziegler. No disrespect to the legend, to the GOAT, but Larry Ziegler.
I had a meeting when I finally got the job at WVON. Melody Span Cooper, shout out to Melody Span Cooper, who gave me immense opportunities. Called me into the office, was like, yo, we thinking that your name is kind of hard to pronounce, and I want to look at your future. You're headed toward CNN. You're headed toward something big. You might want to change your name, do something that's more easier to pronounce. What do you think of Dom? I'm like, I don't like Dom because my name ain't even Dometi, it's Dometi. You know, I'm like, and when I hear Pongo, my name means something. It carries a story. Dometi means the backbone or pillar of the family. Pongo, you know, I hustle for my last name, not my first. It means workhorse, literally, right? So if I come out with my company is Pongo Media. If I change my name, I would have to carry a slave master's name and make that. It's different when it's your mama's name and your family name passed down for generations, and it's become something that you take on as pride. But when it's something you pick out of a book and say, this is gonna be my name, that's backwards.
Ugly.
That's like Malcolm X changing his name back.
You know how many Doms it is? It's a lot of Doms.
It's a lot of Doms.
Doms is plain.
It is.
You know? Except for
Dometi-
shout out Dom Kennedy, except for him.
Yeah. That's it.
But no, she ends up calling her friend and she says, what do you hear when you hear the name Dometi Pongo? I still don't know who was on the other side of that phone. Melody did. This is in the meeting. And the friend said, man, I hear somebody who's proud of who they are. I hear somebody who has a world perspective. And I said, yo, Barack Obama, that tells you who he is and makes you want to ask what else he got going on. Fareed Zakaria, back in the day at the World Show on CNN. I don't know if he still has it. But I feel like it widened my worldview, and so it was rough at first. The listeners was like, "I can't pronounce it. What's your name? Domenito."
Yo, why do they do that to us?
They do it. They do us bogus, but can say Schwarzenegger with no problem.
Yeah, you feel me?
Your own people, man.
Be your own people.
Because I be getting Bekoe,
Bookie. I be getting Bookie. I'm like, people like, yo, your boy Bookie. I be like, Bookie? You like Bookie? Biko, my nigga, that's what you mean?
Man.
That's crazy.
But yeah, man. But sorry to go on that tangent, but when you said
it made me think everybody had
to
to change their name. I changed my name. My real name ain't Illinois Jones. I just was like, shit, I wanted to represent something. I wanted to represent myself and where I'm from my family at the same time.
Exactly.
So the state of Illinois, and my last name is Jones. So I represent two things that I both appreciate and cherish.
So much so that I couldn't even remember his first name, when I was tagging him and something. I'm like, what's your name again, bro? Like, all I Jones what you own. That's all I know.
Man,
that's all I know.
For sure, man. It's love. Because we go back like a Cadillac with flow flats.
Come on, man.
Man, I remember a lot, man. We got stories for days. Me, you, and Ricky. Rampage.
Yeah, shout out to Ricky Rampage.
That's when y'all both... I swear, I could have got kicked off Windy City a long time ago, but with y'all boys there, it was definitely dope. And I also learned a lot being around you as well, man. Just learning how to just carry myself and speak, because it was like... You
knew that already, though.
Yeah,
but you knew that.
But you made it like to where it was like, all right, like Dometi is really like... I watched you how you went to WVON and just... took advantage of that and turned it into something totally different and went up with it.
It's ill hearing that, because at the time, and I'm sure y'all could identify with this, you might not see the power in what you're doing. And let's be real, when you hustling, the money doesn't equal the effort that you're putting into it.
Right.
And you can get lost in the numbers and say, how many people are listening? Am I making an impact? Am I is this gonna, all of these questions. And then somebody comes up to you and says, yo, that interview you did with so-and-so inspired me to do, and you're like, okay, it matters.
Because it seemed like at one point you was at like 3 different radio stations at one time.
Yeah. I had a brief overlap between WVON and WGN, and I had a behind the scenes conversation where I was told to pick one, and I went to WGN I only, mind you, went from a job where I was working Monday through Saturday, doing WVON Monday through Friday, WGN Saturday mornings. I took a gamble and quit my Monday through Friday job and only was working at WGN full time Saturday morning.
I got to say it, brother. Why? What encouraged you to leave WVON, a place you've been with for some time? Because if I'm not mistaken, you was with WVON before WGN. So what made you say, okay, I gotta go. This opportunity is a little more fitting for me.
Oh man, I reached the point where, I mean, let's be real. At the time, I may have been the youngest radio program director, if not in the city, maybe in the state. You know, I don't know about the country or nothing like that, but I was like 24, news director at WVON. So I learned a lot from Perry Small, from Matt McGill, from Cliff Kelly, even my boy Maze Jackson. I learned a lot from these folks. But I reached a point where I've been there so many years, I was kind of teaching myself. I was going to NABJ conferences to learn different techniques, learn how to do the job well. At some point, I needed people who knew more than me in that specific arena to be able to mentor me and carry me to the next step. And WGN Radio had that. Those were veteran news anchors who had been on air for decades. And they're coming over and telling me things that I do wrong that I didn't know all this time. Little mistakes that I made. And they're like, no, when you do this like this. When you do this, even my vocal intonation. I was encouraged at WGN actually to lean more into my natural vocal intonation rather than a so-called radio voice. At that point in my career, I thought I didn't have a radio voice, right? But I realized when I'm coming out the breaks and I'm hearing these really polished news anchors, I was trying to
be like them,
and to kind of, you know, if you're coming out the break and you're somebody who says, yeah, traffic on the Dan Ryan is da-da-da, then I'm coming in, hey, it's Dometi, da-da-da-da. I'm still doing it myself, but there's a little twinge of a code switch that I'm not even knowing. I learned how to get out of that from people for whom I thought I had to code switch, but it was even subconscious. And, you know, so just a little glimpse at some of the things that I learned from them, from, you know, how better to do the traffic report and the type of ways to write stories quicker, different wires to use, different systems. Like, it was crazy. So I needed that growth.
Like, for most people, that will add pressure. They will lack confidence. It will stunt that. It will hurt them. It will punch. It was like a gut punch to some people. That criticism. What made you just stand up in it? Like, all right, I could. All right.
You got to be honest with yourself. I knew I wasn't as good as my confidence portrayed.
Okay.
To be honest, right? I know I'm good. I know I'm talented, and I know I have the X factor. But they say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So you can have all the natural talent in the world. We saw it with the Versus battle. You know, Mario doesn't just have natural talent and a good voice. That man is practicing. He is not getting drunk the night before. He is drinking tea.
Bruh, vocals on, look.
Come on now.
When my baby's born. When my baby's born.
This is the best day for R&B. Can we try that?
We not gonna do Jeremiah like that, okay?
Hey, sorry, but he represented
right.
Jeremiah.
Hey,
we
listen,
love you, King.
I love Jeremiah,
But that was
but
bad.
he made this. Listen,
Still, look, love him.
love him. But come on now, listen. Okay,
but you know, you gotta put yourself in the space where you're honest with yourself and you hear yourself and you're like, there's something I'm missing, and I have reached the point where I can't tell what it is.
Right.
I need some OGs to put me on, and they really. And I started writing audio documentaries for them, and at the same time, they gave me autonomy. Like, I was still doing so much more than I thought. You know, what's the phrase? Do it. You'll never be ready, so do it scared.
Damn, that's a phrase I ain't
I
never
heard.
heard. Help
I
you with
never
that,
heard that
brother.
shit
I wish I could say I came up with it. You'll never be ready, so do it scared. So it's okay to pop that microphone, and a lot of times we're scared to embarrass ourselves or practice in public, right? Just like Ray J, Jeremiah, all them folks, they're gonna come out stronger after this. You know, Ray J was talking on the Joe Budden show. He said, you know, I'm gonna figure out. I'm been working with a coach again, so you know he's gonna make content. He's a good content.
Come out with a hit too. Watch.
You know, but real competitors, you put yourself out there and you're gonna bump your head. I've told a lot of. I've had my mic drop in the middle of interviews. I've asked the wrong question to an artist. I just don't broadcast those things. People make mistakes. And so those mistakes, you got to be willing to get out there, because if you can stay in the house and be perfect, or you can go outside and be great. You know what I'm saying? So
now, I want to chime in on your transition to WGN as well, because you were speaking on how like they help build your character as a personality. Yeah. Now, I don't know the background behind WVON, but is it black owned?
Yeah, black owned.
Okay, and WGN is
white owned.
White owned. Do you feel like that was also a factor towards making you better as far as their, you know, they have resources, bro? Do you feel like us black outlets don't receive the same type of resources that'll make us better and grow?
I would actually say the opposite. I think not having enough, you know, learning to box with one hand tied behind my back made me better once I had two hands. So sometimes when I was in the newsroom, and literally this happened, and anybody who's been at VON, you know, which VON is a dope place for broadcasters to grow and to be yourself, right? Like we are black folks talking to black folks. Everybody can't be at the cookout, everybody can't be a part of certain conversations. VON was where that could happen. And so they had those resources. There was a big resource discrepancy, like you're saying, between them and GN. So the newsroom computer would crash sometimes in the middle of a newscast. What did that teach me to do? Now my script is gone, and I was a script reader. What that taught me was, oh, you don't need to be a script reader. You need to be a conversationalist. And if you know this information, you don't need a script. Right? If you know the story. So when the computer went down, two things I did better. I would always print out my reports. And if I didn't have, by that time, if if I didn't have the reports printed out, I know the story. I know what happened. There was a crash at so-and-so o'clock at the Dan Ryan. This many people were injured. Why do I need to read that? If you're really present to what you're doing, you know the story. And so it helped me build my memory, and it helped me be more polished. But then
when they're like Hove.
That's what I was freestyle. I don't even need to write.
I'm telling you, literally, those who know, DJ Pat know. Sonia Escobar knows, who's doing her thing with Mace Jackson now. So it was that, it made me better. And then when I got the resources, then I figured out all of the other tricks and talents that I didn't even know I could do because I didn't have to worry about the computer. Well, now, since I have to worry about the computer and it's glitching, that means I could chop up more audio so I can bring more actualities. I got time to pick up the phone and do some original reporting now because I'm not fighting with equipment. So it was like different things, and that helped me get that footwork, man, and get it together.
Man, dog, that's hard.
Now, I know we haven't touched on some topics such as true life crime.
Okay.
There's 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Will there be a third?
That is the question everyone is asking. Will there be a third? Will there? That's the question. MTV, will there be a third? Now, MTV, we've been talking about it. There's some behind the scenes going on that's been out of folks' control, business wise, with production companies and different things going on, and also a pivot into how we want to tell these stories and which stories we want to tell. So once we get that right, I'm sure they're gonna be calling me back, let me know what's going on. So we've been talking behind the scenes, the producers and I, the EP, Melissa Tallerine, about how we want to move forward. But right now we're in a holding pattern. Okay. So I don't know. But in the interim, I've been receiving so many messages. And it borders on harassment, but I know why. Because these people have experienced deep loss. I received a lot of messages from people who are experiencing unsolved crimes that have happened to people that they love, or I just shared something about a brother by the name of I'm gonna find his name while I find it, a wrongfully convicted black man in Illinois who was allegedly wrongfully convicted of murder. So these are all stories that I want to eventually find a platform to tell. So my next goal, if while true life crime is in its holding pattern, I'm working with Paramount to figure out how we can tell these stories in other ways through other mediums.
I think it's dope how you bring awareness to these crimes, and it's pretty dope. I never really was into
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut. Kevin Barlow is the name that was wrongfully convicted at the age of 22, serving 75 years in prison for a crime that his people believe he did not commit. And they believe witnesses were coerced. There's a change.org petition. His name is Kevin Barlow. Just got this message this morning, so I haven't looked into it yet, 4 hours ago before my flight. But just an example of why can't I find a space to tell that story, even if it's not right for true life crime? So that's what I want to do.
Man, how does that make you feel that people come to you with this and want you to be the one to you're a voice for the people?
It's weird.
Because it's we're not even going to trust the police. We're going to trust Dometi with this.
This is why I say it's weird. There was a proverb that when I was contemplating whether or not I wanted to do true life crime, it's Proverbs 31:8-9. And roughly it says, speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, for all those who are appointed to die. Be the voice for them. And so when I saw that scripture, when I was praying about whether or not to take the true life crime job in 2018, I felt like that was God giving me the green light. What is weird to me about this is that because of the way America consumes media, I think we put undue adulation and praise on me because I'm the one on camera, when the real heroes it sounds corny, but I'm so for real, are those district attorneys who actually keep in contact with the family throughout the trial and console that crying mother every day. I might have spent the 2 weeks with that mama, but these detectives were at the crime scene the day it happened. These district attorneys and these prosecutors are working with the family and navigating how much information to give them to protect the integrity of the case, while at the same time giving solace to a parent who wants to know what's going on with the conviction of a child's murderer. So those are the heroes. I'm a prism. I'm a conduit through which these stories are told, but I can't do some of the things that people are asking me to do because I'm just not that gifted. God hasn't blessed me with that. God's blessed me with some gifts and a lot of gifts, but so it's humbling, and it reminds me of how much I'm incapable of when I see how much people need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And watching a few episodes, because I watch. You know what I mean? I just want to thank you because I didn't understand women. And watching these type of shows, they be watching Law and Order. They be watching all trying to solve mysteries. So when I meet her honey and she like to solve murders, my boy got to solve them. You feel me? So I put it on and I'm watching them and shit. And I be watching you and shit. And I be like, damn, like this shit be real. It be so real. I be seeing you be getting choked up and shit with the story and shit on the show and shit. So it be like, damn, like I be wondering like, damn, like, do that shit be affecting you, like the depressing to you? Like, do that shit bring you, like, how do you come back after an episode? Like,
how do you keep your mental like right?
Yeah,
because I be fucked up.
Nah, I be fucked up. I have coping mechanisms now though.
Okay,
I come down and away from it, and whatever I feel just by seeing it'll never be what the family feels. Right. So and I step away from it when I have to. Sometimes I have to detach. Sometimes I have to mentally put myself in a different space and protect I'll give you an example. So normally for those true crime shows that you see, a little behind the scenes, little TV magic, I'm sorry for the reporters that do this, no shade. But they will do the on-camera interviews when they're on camera. And anytime you see a subject speaking straight to camera and nobody else is on camera, there'll be a producer doing that interview.
Okay.
I used to do the producer interviews and the interviews while I'm on camera. So those are like 14-hour work days. And so, the producer's there letting me know what she needs and what's going on. But I used to enjoy being there because I get more details about the story. I'm like, when I get in scene with this person, now I know what is a trigger for her. So maybe I won't ask that question quite that way. I learned a lot about emotional intelligence and learning how to broach difficult topics with folks through doing that. But I had to, as time went on, pick and choose how many of these off-camera interviews I'm doing. The producer's going to get the answer anyway. Do I need to be this invested to where I'm pouring so much of myself into that aspect of the show to where when it comes time for me to be on camera again, I'm already emotionally drained, and I come home and I ain't got no love to give to my woman, my family, or anybody, my friends, nobody to talk to. So I found ways to create those boundaries and barriers and different coping mechanisms. That's kind of helped me out and getting back into my hobbies and whatnot.
I'm happy you said that, Jones, because that our show was like, man, how in the hell do you cope with episode after episode after just being involved with trauma so much? Like, damn.
But you from the crib though. You'll be surprised how much, like, if you stopped and told a story. We all got a story of multiple friends, unfortunately, or multiple people we known who have fallen. And if you recounted that story to somebody from somewhere else, as you're talking, just go through the story. As you're talking, you're going to realize, wait, that was actually wild. Like, we was 15 and that happened to that. You just learn to live with it. And then as you talk about it, you're like, wait a minute. We have coped just by virtue of being born where we were born with some really traumatic things. And we're only now getting to the space where we're talking about it. So the more you'd be surprised what you can handle mentally because you're already handling it off camera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we shouted out, you shouted out Dirk's big brother,
D-Thang.
D-Thang.
Yep.
You shouted out D-Thang moments ago, and we're able to laugh at it because, not laugh at it, I'm not talking about laugh at it. But smile and find joy in, man, D-Thang had the app. You know what I'm saying? Salute to him, rest in peace. But then if you peel that back and talk about what it meant for us to lose somebody like that was that important to the city.
It's deep. It cuts.
It cuts. Mm-hmm. It cuts deep. We just don't really peel back the scabs. And in true life crime, we peel back the scabs. But I found that we've been dealing with this our whole lives. I'm already equipped for this just because of how we live.
It's like that. It's like Cam when he was Rico when he told, "Hey, niggas get shot every day, B." You know what I mean?
It's a coping mechanism.
Niggas get shot every day. Look. Keep going. Life goes on. What type of shit? And we live with it. But also, it's like, as a black man, we don't supposed to have vulnerable moments.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We supposed to be chest up. Like I listen to Music Soul Child, Teach Me How to Love. Mm-hmm. Like he breaks down all the shit that we supposed to do as men. Yeah, we don't never supposed to be sad, never supposed to cry. So it's hard for me to love a woman the right way because shit, I never was taught how. all you know is to be a man, chest up, never let them see you sweat, never let them see you cry, type shit. You feel me?
Look, I don't want to make you late for the showcase. Y'all. I was going down at 7.
What else you got popping off?
Wait, hold up, because we're gonna end it with that. Let's talk a little bit about MTV Awards.
Oh, yes, okay.
I remember you wasn't on the red carpet. You were like, when you first got with MTV, you wasn't really doing. You was doing more of the need to know.
Yeah.
And then boom, you land on the red carpet. You interviewing all the celebs, bro. It was like the trophy for the city. And you be having some magical conversations on the carpet too.
Thank you.
So I brought it up to say, what's one of your most memorable moments being on that red carpet?
Oh, maybe because this is fresh in my mind, and it wasn't even that poignant of a moment. But it meant a lot to me. So a lot of red carpet, because you're making this interaction so quick,
right.
You're trying to build energy. And these people have answered these questions. Certain questions they answer 1,000,000 times over, and you don't really, how does it feel to win tonight? You know what I mean? It's not, so it's like, what can I put in front of it that makes it interesting? And then what about my energy will draw this person in, and how can I get them? It's like trying to pull a woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can I say to make her a little more interested than she was before she met me? And when I saw Snoop walking the carpet, he was talking in conversation with Diplo, and I remember I jumped on Instagram and said, yo, I see Snoop over there. He looked like he moving fast. I'm gonna see if he's not scheduled to interview with me. I'm gonna see if I can get him. But I just shouted at him while I was in an interview with another person, an actress, Sarah Shahi, who has a show on Netflix. And her son happened to be talking to Snoop. And she said, yo, my son's down there talking to Snoop. I was like, tell your son to tell Snoop to come over and talk to nephew. And so I happened to talk to nephew. So I made eye contact with him. And I was like, yo, MTV News? You know what I'm saying? He was like, all right, I got one question, but I got to run. You know what I'm saying? So he came over and he spoke. But why I love that moment so much is because there's 1,000,000 people yelling and trying to get that interview with Snoop, who didn't have it previously scheduled. He was on his way to DJ the MTV Awards. And the fact that he gave me that moment, because, I don't know, it was another black man on the carpet, it's because he had time, because he was talking to the kids, my energy, God's grace, I don't know. But I just love those moments where I feel like I have a spark that somebody saw in the smallest way to just say what's up to me. So that's probably one of my favorite moments.
And you be having that shit on too,
bro.
Come on now,
fresh,
you be having that shit on.
Let's not forget that part.
Hey, you represent well. That nigga dressed like that nigga hard. That boy got a budget number. That boy got a budget number. Hey, he wearing that shit. He wearing that shit.
You making me look at my closet like I gotta step my game.
Oh man! Shout out to Ali Keener, man. That's a stylist I work with very frequently.
Yeah.
Who helps me put the shit shadigs together.
Yeah, put that shit on. Mr. Put that shit on.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Thank you, man. So that's probably my memorable moment, man. I'm thinking of another one. That's good. That was decent.
Yeah,
this moment is decent.
Because I understood what you mean when you on this carpet. You got to schedule them interviews.
Yeah,
and if it ain't scheduled, more than likely you're not gonna get it, and the artist ain't gonna have time. And for Snoop to, come on, nephew, I got you.
I saw him walk past so many people. You know, it was a couple of dope moments. I know we got to go soon, so I'll leave it at that one. But it was Billie Eilish did the same thing. You know what I mean? Like it's little things like
you and Chloe look like y'all have a great bond.
Chloe is my favorite interview, man. Chloe and Phoebe Bridgers. Those are two of my favorite interviews.
Energy together, man.
She was so cool. Like, she is such a genuine, humble, cool sister. Like, Chloe is dope. She even let me. I looked at the interview. I haven't told anybody this, but the interview for Have Mercy. Mm-hmm. I looked at the video before it came out, and her team was really adamant about nobody seeing it, but Chloe was like, nah, showed it to me on her phone so that we could have a proper interview. Because sometimes I do interviews before I've heard the song or see the content. They just describe it to me, but they keep it under wraps so nothing leaks. And we sat down and she watched it. Then after the VMAs, after her performance, she came backstage. I was like, you did an amazing job. She's like, for real? Okay. I'm like, what you mean?
We friends? We friends? We friends?
Yeah, right. All right. You know, you don't care what I think, but that could just be her being nice, because she's just a beautiful sister. Every time I see her, she's always kind and gracious, and I think she's gonna be a superstar. So I feel good to be able to talk to her early, man.
Lord, have mercy.
Have mercy.
What do it feel like being a kid from Chicago, the east side of Chicago, and now you on MTV? Like, what would you tell yourself on the east side of Chicago, east side Dometi?
Yeah.
Posted on the block with the guys back in the day.
Yeah.
With his white tee on.
Oh yeah, Jabot straps.
Jabot straps and his ones. What would you tell him?
And Cal City. I got to shout out Cal City too. I moved to Cal City for high school. Shout out 156 where we grew up at. But I would tell him to not overthink it. I was so calculated. I tried to do everything right, bro. I started a record label. I was forcing guys to go to the studio. I was calling guys. Like, I started Music You Feel Records when I was 19 years old. We talk about it. 2009 or 2008 or something like that. And so my guys would tell you if they were here, man, I was y'all supposed to be in the studio at this time. We supposed to do this. We supposed to do that. I was trying to figure it out. I had no connections to anybody in the entertainment industry. No, we barely have an industry in Chicago, especially back at that time, unless you were connected. So, especially being in Cal City during my formidable years during that time, I was disconnected from a lot of stuff. And I would tell myself, you don't have to be that intense. It's going to work out. And so I would tell creatives when you're in that space, don't overthink it. Follow your heart. Yes, you can share your ideas with other people and see what they think, but be very careful about that because God gave you the vision. They're not going to get it. They're not supposed to. It's your vision, not theirs. That's what I would tell myself.
Damn, that's dope. Look, man, we appreciate you sliding, Dometi.
Thank you,
spoke
man.
on some projects you got. Please let people know some upcoming projects you have.
Absolutely.
And again, shout out that plugger to let people know where you at tonight.
Tonight, the Artist Lounge, 5300 West Chicago Avenue. Upcoming projects I'm excited about. A new season of The Method is coming out. MTV The Method is where I interview artists about the method behind what they create.
Okay.
Interview coming up with Hit Boy.
Ooh.
That's going to be hard.
Hit Boy.
In the studio. So we got that interview coming out. So the next season of The Method. And then I'm working on a really, really dope project with the Smithsonian Channel. It's my first time hosting a competition show. All I can say is that it's a competition show, kind of like, Great British Bake Off or America's Next Top Model.
Okay.
People try to do their thing.
Yeah.
And it's focused on art and around the arts.
Is it the show when they have like
it.
people painting and stuff and like they had, because I think it's is it the one where they paint and they got to see who could do the painting of the sculpture? I think I synced it before.
No, it ain't out yet, but you close though. Yeah, no, it ain't out yet, but you on the emails or something.
No, never mind. I'm thinking of something else then.
But no, it's very similar. It's very similar to what we're doing, except the artists get different themes, and they got to create work based on the theme that they're given.
Right.
And they compete for $100,000.
Yikes! That's a lot of money.
A museum exhibit at the Hirshhorn Museum. But that's coming out real soon. I think I could talk about it. I think an article came out about it. I believe I could talk about it.
Go ahead.
Of course, I'm going to give a scoop to iLLANOiZE Radio, but it's going to be a dope show. And I think Smithsonian Channel is doing some really interesting things by partnering with MTV News and creating content because the older generation has to pass the torch to us to be the standard bearers as griots, as people who tell our stories and keep this history. That's literally what the Smithsonian is for. So I think the show is going to be ill, and I think it's going to appeal to us who enjoy the arts, but are also, of a younger generation, man.
Man, yo, this conversation has been got me smiling this shit.
Look, I don't want to go. I want to stay some more.
Look, y'all can catch us tonight though. Give out that location one more time.
5300 West Chicago Avenue, iLLANOiZE Radio. I love y'all. Thank you so much for the friendship and the support throughout the years and for seeing it. Because I know, man, listen, I don't want to be too long-winded, but there are a lot of people who see you get to what they believe is success and want to say, I always knew I saw it, but didn't come to the Artist Lounge when it was inconvenient for them, or didn't, and it's not just coming out and supporting, but sometimes just an encouraging, I see you, or
do your thing.
And we always had, that's why I love about the content creators in this city. We have such a cohesive way of working with each other, you know what I mean? So I just want to shout out iLLANOiZE Radio and all the content creators in the city who have been so fucking congratulatory and genuine and just, fucking with me heavy. You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
for sure.
I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate them. Y'all know who y'all are. I'm very, very thankful. Y'all make me better when I see y'all do ill work, and hopefully my work is useful to you guys as well. So it's dope being on here, man.
Give out your social media so people can stay in tune, my brother. Possibly reach out for if they want to put you in tune with some further investigation.
Oh yeah, Dometi at Dometi DOMETI_. If you have true life crime cases, my email is info@dometi.net, DOMETI.net. Don't get discouraged if I don't respond. I am logging these. I'm just one person. I don't have a big conglomerate. I got one assistant, Biko knows it. Shout out Paris, and
amazing job, by the way. Y'all be on it.
We try our best, and there are things that I have to wait for people at a higher pay grade above me to green light. So just be patient, and there are reasons I can't respond to every single one. But send those emails through, and we'll do our best to see if God willing, if we can do something about some of your cases.